Okay guys, so I've got this thing set up here. I don't know how well it's going to work, but I'm going to try it. So I've got the blocking in. I can't really show you my reference right now, but you have seen it. So I've still got the, it's a bristle filbert. It's firm. And sadly, the paint is kind of starting to dry, so it's not going to be blending like I wanted it to. So I just didn't have time to work on it yesterday. So I'm still kind of adding to the structure of the face, the shape. I don't know how much I'm going to talk, but, and again, I'm not too concerned at this point if I make mistakes or not, because I'm really just kind of trying to re-wet the surface so I can work it. The color that I mixed here is yellow ochre base. Can't really show you my palette because I've got this camera up on a little holder, camera holder. I mean a phone holder. But the base is yellow ochre and warm red. A little bit of cool red too, because this reference has quite a bit of cool red in it, if you remember. But yeah, pretty much his whole face is dry. It was wet yesterday. Too bad I didn't have time to work on it. Now this was the portrait that I actually went back into and did some wipeout, so I'll just kind of keep going back and forth and doing that. I'll continue the whole wipeout technique. I don't want to completely get rid of everything I already have going on in here, but essentially I'm kind of redoing everything just so I can get it the way I want it. And when you're doing a portrait from a reference and you're trying to capture the likeness, you need to keep looking at your reference. Don't just start, painting and, adding your own whatever to it, because your goal with this project is to get it to look like the person you're painting, right? Hopefully I was clear about that. That is our goal. As illustrators, we should be able to capture a likeness. We should be able to. Some people they can't, which is fine. I don't know how long I should go with this video. I'm mixing a color right now that is going to be a little darker in value. Put a little, for dark value, instead of adding like a black or an orange, which some are wont to do, I'm just looking for dark value primaries. And I added blue, base still of yellow ochre. And I'm actually painting into wet paint right now, because I had to re-wet it, remember. Now be careful when you're adding the cool colors, because it can quickly go to looking a bit not alive, and we're not doing a portrait of a corpse, so we want our skin color to be, and that was a big part of this project too, is focusing on accurate skin color, because it is not easy to do. For those of you who, think, oh, that's not very creative, well, that's the assignment. So, not to stifle your creativity if you want to do other colors, but that's the assignment. If you don't feel like that is something that you ever want to do, that's okay. That's cool. You know, I mean, you don't. I don't do portraits. This is not something I want to do. But I have had to do it in my career. Not quite to the extent that I'm doing it now, but a little bit. I've had to do, you know, not celebrities in the sense like Hollywood celebrities, but I have had to do some recognizable people. So it had to look like them. And again, this is not the most ideal surface for painting on. I thought it would be much, much better after I already had a layer of paint on it, but it's not really. It's not really that great. I'm not worried about getting into detail in his lips quite yet. I'll get there. I'm adding value. You know, just in the short time that I've been making this video, I have added quite a bit of value contrast to his face. And I wish I could show you the reference because there's some reflective color on the right side of his face that I'm going to try to capture. So I really like it. I'll mix like a kind of a warm, rosy, still with a, you know, yellow ochre. And I might, no, that's not quite light enough yet. Because I'm not cleaning my brush, so it just keeps mixing in. I don't do a lot of cleaning my brush when I'm working in this stage. So, yeah. Yeah, see, it's not really lightening up because I've got too much of this other color on my brush. If I just go in and add white, it's not going to give me the rosy. But let's just see. I can always blend it in. Plus, I've got this glare going on, which is really making it hard for me to see what's going on as far as my colors. I might have to just wipe it clean with a rag. All this is dry, so this would be blending if I had started painting on it yesterday. Now, obviously, because I worked with really thinned out colors, that's what made it dry so fast, too. Trying to get a different brush, maybe a smaller one, just to kind of I've got the phone right in my way when I'm trying to see the color I'm trying to match. Doesn't have to be a perfect match, just believable, you know. Just trying to get him to look like he's alive. And I'm still not working real thick. So my reference is quite golden on the reflective color, and I don't seem to be able to achieve that quite. It looks like I'm achieving it on my palette, and then when I put it up there, it's not looking right. Might have too much of that rosy color in there. Might have to go in there with a rag and just pull it out, which definitely, sometimes you have to do that. Because it will just keep mixing. Don't be afraid to just go in there with white, because you can always kind of blend that in. You'll just keep working this. Just keep working that face. Checking with your reference. Can't stress that enough. Bottom lip, not quite getting that. It's a little bit crooked. And remember, we talked about certain features you really want to nail because that feature is distinctive to that person. And these lips are kind of that way for Sitting Bull. So I'll just keep working this, adding little bits of color here and there. And you don't have to be super literal. I mean, you can see that I'm not quite being that literal, especially when I just go in with blue. But I am pretty much sticking to, I'm not giving him a purple face or a blue face. I'm giving him essentially flesh color, essentially. Oh, totally have to wipe that out. Thought that was wet and it would just blend, but I guess I hadn't gone in there. And I won't have to do a lot of like blending, because this is not a young person that I'm doing. If this was a young person, I would be approaching it the same way, but then I would be planning to go in afterwards with a soft brush, which I haven't gone to look for where my mop head is, but this would also suffice. It's a watercolor brush, but if I clean it really good, I can use it. And I would go in and just kind of soften, then you kind of wipe it, soften, wipe it, and none of this underneath is wet, so it's not really blending with anything right now. But anyway, that's the way I would approach it for a face without wrinkles. So I'll just work a little bit more on re-wetting a lot of this that's completely dry right now, and we'll be back.